Glory to God in the highest.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to our daily inspiration again. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. And hopefully you'll be edified with what we've put together for you here. Well, before we start, I came across this news today that the sequel to the movie Passion of the Christ is now practically ready to shoot. And according to the news that I read, it's mostly likely early 2025 production for the film, most likely right after Mel Gibson is done doing press for Flight Risk in January. And according to the news also, Gibson has hinted that the sequel, potentially split into two films, would be more philosophical and poetic than the more linear and straightforward original. Anyway, now to start this video, I'd like to share this clip of Father Daniel Reehil, where he talks about the Queenship of Mary.
Now, I'll tell you who has a lot of problems with Tale of Our Lady is the Protestants. When we refer to Mary as Queen of Heaven, Queen of the Angels, Queen of the Universe, for Protestant fundamentalists, these titles, they seem similar to the ones given to pagan goddesses. And they use them as proof of the Catholic Church being a bunch of heathens and non-Christian in nature. For Catholics who are not well formed in their faith, this can produce a bit of confusion for them, for they don't know who to believe. But for the committed Catholic, for the devout Catholic, this is sort of a rally cry, because the Queenship of Mary, like the Kingship of Christ, reflects a rulership that spans heaven and earth, regardless of whoever might recognize it or refuse to. Really doesn't make a difference. He's still king and she's still the queen. That's that. Now, if they should get to heaven, even despite their error in thinking, they will come to realize that when they will probably have to pit stop in purgatory to have their logic cleaned up. But upon entering, they would see her sitting at Jesus' right hand. Jesus, of course, sits at the Father's right hand, and Mary sits at Jesus' right hand. So you see those two positions. When James and John were asking, can they sit at the right and left of you when you come into your kingdom? Those positions are already taken. You know, God the Father and the Blessed Virgin Mary. And I think if they knew that's what they were asking for, they would have never asked. It would be sheer embarrassment to think that they would take one of those positions. It's very important to realize that due to this beautiful relationship between Mary and Jesus, the union of these two hearts, Sacred and Immaculate Heart, Mary's queenship is as much bound up with her son's kingship as her Immaculate Heart is tied to his Sacred Heart. And all of her greatness, her ability to aid those who seek her intercession, her role in the saving mission of her son, it derives completely from his power, from his presence. She does not and cannot stand alone. But having said that, Mary's continuing place in his life and work puts her above every other person, place, or thing he's created, even the angels. In fact, many of the saints have said if you took all the glory and merit of all the saints combined, it would be a fraction compared to Our Lady's glory and holiness. So she is, again, the crown jewel of all creation. She is our mother, we know that, and also our queen. We don't really have kings and queens anymore. I know there's a few, but they really don't have the power they used to wield. And Edward, wonderful King of England, probably the last saint that will come from that line, considering they stole the Catholic Church away from Rome by just usurping all the properties in England and changing them into Protestant churches, Anglican churches. The Church of England, which was a man-made church that stole from the Catholic Church. A terrible, terrible travesty.
And now for the second part of this video, because we have just covered about the Virgin Mary, we would like to share a few diary entries from Saint Gemma.
My dearest Mother of Sorrows came to pay me a little visit, as she is accustomed to on Saturday. She seemed very unhappy, and looked as if she had been weeping. Then she smiled, saying to me, "Gemma, do you wish to repose on my breast?" I approached her and knelt. She raised me, kissed me on the forehead, and disappeared. This evening, after confessing to Father Vallini, I felt suddenly agitated and disturbed. It was a sign that the devil was near. Later, internally and also externally, I was all in a tempest. I should have preferred to go to bed and sleep rather than to pray, but no, I began to say 3 invocations, which I usually say every evening to the Sacred Heart of Mary. The enemy, who had been hidden for some hours, appeared in the form of a very small man, but so horrible that I was almost overcome with fear. Continuing to pray, all at once I began to feel many blows on the shoulder, which continued for about half an hour. Then my angel guardian came and asked me what the matter was. I begged him to stay with me all night, and he said to me, "But I must sleep." "No," I replied, "angels of Jesus do not sleep." "Nevertheless," he replied, smiling, "I ought to rest. Where shall you put me?" I begged him to remain near me. I went to bed. After that, he seemed to spread his wings and come over my head. In the morning, he was still there. The devil, in the form of a great black dog, put his paws upon my shoulders, making every bone in my body ache. At times, I believed that he would mangle me. Then one time, when I was taking holy water, he twisted my arm so cruelly that I fell to the earth in great pain. After a while, I remembered that I had around my neck the relic of the Holy Cross. Making the sign of the cross, I became calm. Jesus let me see himself, but only for a short time, and he strengthened me anew to suffer and struggle. At dinner time, there had come to me an evil thought which my angel understood, and he said to me, "Daughter, do you wish me to go away?" I was ashamed. These words I heard very distinctly, and I did not know whether or not others also heard him. While in church yesterday, he reprimanded me, saying, "The glory of Jesus and the place where you are merit another kind of conduct," because at that time I had raised my eyes to look at two children, to see how they were dressed. Last night, while in bed, he reproved me again, saying that instead of progressing in his teachings, I was becoming constantly worse and continually slackening in well-doing. I am always conscious when these things happen to me. It seems to me that no matter what I do not succeed in preparing myself for the visit of the Mother of Sorrows, or Brother Gabriel. I went to bed, I slept, and slept well. After a quarter of an hour, for my sleep is always brief, I saw at the foot of my bed, on the ground, that usual ominous black creature, very black, very small. I knew who it was and said, "Have you begun again the business of not letting me sleep?" "What, sleep? Why don't you pray?" he replied. "I shall pray later," I said. "Now it is time to sleep." "For 2 days you have not been able to be recollected. Well, let's do what I want." He began to give me blows until he jumped up suddenly and rolled on the ground. I do not know what happened, but I smiled, for I did not have any fear of him today. He said, "Today I can do nothing to you, but I'll take care of you another time." I asked him, "Why can't you? If you can do it other times, why can't you now? I know I am the same, but I have Jesus, the relic, on my neck." Then he said to me, "What have you in this room? Take off the belt of St. Gabriel's you wear, and then we shall see." I insisted that I had nothing, but I knew what he meant. After this, I smiled at him as he stood there devoured with rage. He told me that if I prayed, I would suffer all the more. "It doesn't matter," I said. "I suffer for Jesus." In short, today I was much entertained by him. I saw him very angry. He has sworn to make me pay for it. He waited until this evening, but by the grace of God he was not able to remain very long. He gave me 3 violent blows, so that afterward going to bed took much time. At certain times he ran off, and with such fear that I did not know what the matter was. I myself was scarcely able to move. How often I called, "Jesus!" but he did not come. I prayed that my angel guardian should lead me to Jesus, but everything was in vain. He said to me, "Tonight Jesus will not come to bless you, nor will I." I was frightened then, because if Jesus did not bless me, I could not get up. He saw that I was about to weep and said, "But you know Jesus will send someone, and if you knew who it was, how happy you would be." My mind flew at once to Brother Gabriel. I asked him, but he made no reply. He kept me in suspense for some time. At last he said to me, "But if Jesus does send Brother Gabriel to bless you, what will you do? Do not speak to him if you do not want to disobey the confessor." "No, I will not speak," I replied impatiently. "But how can Brother Gabriel bless me? It is Jesus who sends him. He has sent him other times to bless you. But will you manage to be silent and obey?" Yes, I will obey. Let him come." After a little while, Brother Gabriel came. What a frenzy seized me then! I wanted to speak to him, but I was good and checked myself. He blessed me with certain Latin words, which I have remembered well, and then he suddenly departed. Oh, then I could not help saying, "Brother Gabriel, ask our mother to bring you to me Saturday." He turned to me smiling and said, "You are to be good," and saying this took from his waist his black belt and said, "Do you want it again? I wanted it very much indeed. That helps me so much when you let me wear it. Please give it to me now." He shook his head to indicate that he would give it to me Saturday, and left me. He told me that the belt was the one which had liberated me from the devil the night before. It happened today, as usual. I had gone to bed. In fact, I was asleep, but the devil did not wish this. He presented himself in a disgusting manner. He tempted me, but I was strong. I commended myself to Jesus, asking that he take my life rather than have me offend him. What horrible temptations those were! All displease me, but those against holy purity make me most wretched. Afterward he left me in peace, and the angel guardian came and assured me that I had not done anything wrong. I complained somewhat, because I wished his help at such times, and he said that whether I saw him or not, he would be always above my head. Also, yesterday he promised that in the evening Jesus would come to see me. Yesterday evening I waited with impatience for the moment to go to my room. I took the crucifix and went to bed. My angel was willing to have me go to bed because of the order of the confessor. I felt myself becoming recollected. Jesus came and stood by my side. What beautiful moments those were! I asked him if he would love me always, and he replied with these words, "My daughter, I have enriched you with so many beautiful things without any merit on your part, and you ask me if I love you? I fear so much for you." "Why?" I asked. "Oh, daughter, on the days when you enjoy my presence, you are all fervor. It costs you no fatigue to pray. Now instead you are wearied by prayer, and negligence in your duties seeks to insinuate itself in your heart. Oh, daughter, why do you speak thus? Tell me, in the past, did prayer seem long as it does now? Some little penance you do, but how long you wait before resolving upon it." Finally I commended his poor sinner to him. He blessed me, and in going away said to me, "Remember that I have created you for heaven. You have nothing to do with the earth."
Well then, that will be all for the video this time. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. And hopefully all of you have learned a lot from this video. And remember, if there's any feedback or suggestion, please don't hesitate to let us know in the comments below. And until the next one, thanks again for watching, and may God bless you.